Divinely revealed, the 3 miraculous signs confirming your supernatural journey to conversion. In the heart of an English village, where the bells of St. Michael's Chapel rang with a sound like angelic voices, an extraordinary chain of events was about to unfold. Thomas, a man of unwavering faith, gathered his family every evening for prayer, long enough to fuse the very spirit of their community within those sacred walls. But when his cherished son, Daniel, fell ill, pale as the moon and silent as the grave, the village was shrouded in despair. Local doctors shook their heads, delivering grim forecasts. It felt as if a heavy fog drifted over them, dampening hope, but let not despair lay claim. Thomas, with a heart full of faith, called upon his fellow parishioners, illuminating the chapel with flickering candles and fervent prayers. That night, as voices melded into a melody of supplication, a figure emerged from the shadows, a mysterious elderly woman with a presence like a whispered promise. Her voice, resonant and wise, echoed through the chamber, "Hope shall rise from this despair." The words hung in the air, igniting flickers of belief in every heart present. Gasps of wonder rippled through the crowd, an answer to their prayers, yet, days turned into weeks, and Daniel's condition remained unchanged, drawing skepticism from even the most devout. Whispers of doubt wound through the village like creeping shadows. "Where is the miracle?" murmured one neighbor. "Shouldn't we begin to accept?" another began, but Thomas stood firm amidst their waning faith. His heart beat in desperation as he wrestled with doubt, until a respected local pastor, known for his profound wisdom, approached him. "Faith, my friend, is the bridge between doubt and divine sufficiency." Those words struck a chord deep within Thomas, engraved like a scripture in his soul. "Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With a newfound resolve, Thomas held fast to his prayers, refusing to release Daniel into despair's grasp. Miraculously, one quiet evening, amidst clenched hands and hushed prayers, life began to flicker in Daniel's eyes. The second miraculous sign had arrived. Hope had breathed back into his frail limbs, igniting a fiery resolve in the villagers. They rejoiced, voices soaring into the heavens as faith rekindled like a flame in the darkness, but the apex of Thomas's journey lay still ahead. One serene night, he stood beneath the vast sky over St. Michael's Chapel, gazing up as the cosmos surrendered, an enchanting spectacle. Lights danced above, shimmering and swirling, as if the heavens had burst open in response to their sincere prayers. The village gathered, awe-filled and trembling, hearts lifted in collective wonder. Was this divine confirmation of their unity and purpose? Excitement rippled through the air, yet doubts lingered, questions festering deep. Why now? What awaited in the shadows? Around the corner of faith, standing on the precipice of this miraculous season, Thomas felt a deep stirring, and with every flicker of light above, a new chapter of divine mystery awaited them all. What further revelations lay in the embrace of the night? The community held its breath, anticipating the extraordinary journey that God had planned for them, ready to grasp the divine truth just over the horizon. As dawn crept over the village, a delicate light broke through the horizon, casting a golden hue on the familiar cobblestone streets. Thomas, still filled with the awe of the previous night's celestial display, rose early. His heart sang a melody of gratitude, each note resonating with the rekindling hope that now enveloped their community. The chapel buzzed with whispers of anticipation. Neighbors gathered, their voices weaving together a tapestry of faith and wonder. Children darted playfully, their laughter ringing like bells, echoing what seemed like a promise from heaven itself. Yet, beneath the surface of excitement, a current of uncertainty still flowed. Though hope had taken root, the villagers pondered, what next? In the weeks that followed, Daniel's recovery became the talk of the village. Each passing day saw him gaining strength, a little more vibrant and lively. His first steps, tentative yet brave, were witnessed with tears of joy and clapping hands. But for Thomas, a deeper transformation was unfolding spiritually and inwardly. He found solace in the calming wisdom of the respected pastor, who seemed to pour calmness like warm tea into the hearts of the weary. Faith is a journey, the pastor often said, not merely a destination. Each time Thomas heard those words, they offered both challenge and comfort. The path ahead was uncharted territory, but with every step taken in faith, a miracle awaited like a blooming flower longing for the sun. One fateful evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Thomas organized a gathering in St. Michael's Chapel, inviting not only the villagers but anyone from neighboring towns who needed hope. Candles flickered like tiny stars, casting a divine glow on every face in attendance. The air was thick with expectancy, like electrical tension before a storm. As they prayed together, the atmosphere shifted, as if the very walls breathed in unity and purpose. Then came the moment, another sign. A profound stillness washed over the crowd as an inexplicable warmth enveloped them. It was as if a gentle hand, unseen yet undeniably felt, cradled their spirits. Many began to weep, not from sorrow, but from the overwhelming presence of love that engulfed them. Their hearts, previously heavy with doubt, now soared. "Can you feel it?" whispered one woman, her voice trembling. Others nodded, a visible consensus that something extraordinary enveloped them, a tangible touch of the divine. Thomas, with a trembling heart, understood now that these moments were more than signs. They were whispers from God, affirming that their faith, however flickering, had the power to ignite a blazing fire of transformation. As the prayers faded into a serene silence, Thomas sensed a deeper call, an invitation further beckoning him. It was a call to step beyond his own understanding, into a realm of greater faith. The illumination of faith grew ever brighter, yet questions loomed like shadows in the twilight. What was God asking of him next? What journey lay ahead, one that would challenge his spirit and stretch his faith even further? In the stillness, a new mystery of divine purpose was unfurling, ready to guide them all toward the next miraculous revelation. In the days that followed the gathering, the air in the village turned electric with excitement and curiosity. People whispered among themselves, speculating about what Thomas's next steps would be. The sense of expectation felt like the soft ebb and flow of an ocean tide, restless yet full of promise. Thomas rose each morning, a new rhythm thrumming in his spirit. Though uncertainty lingered like the morning mist, his heart was clear, a compass pointing towards a deeper connection with the divine. Each day, he sought out the pastor for wisdom, driven by a hunger for understanding. "It feels as if we're on the brink of something wondrous," he would express, eyes alight with fervor. "God often reveals himself in the most unexpected moments," the pastor replied one day, his voice steady like the heartbeat of the earth. "Stay attentive, Thomas. Even the smallest signs can lead to great revelations." The village carried out its daily routine, yet beneath the surface, a wave of spiritual awakening began to crest. People shared stories of miraculous happenings, lost items found, healed hearts, and dreams reclaimed. It was a subtle shift but powerful, sending ripples of faith through every household. One chilly evening, inspired by the pastor's words, Thomas ventured into the woods behind his home, seeking solitude and clarity. As he walked, the silence felt thick and sacred. He paused, absorbing the rustle of leaves and the call of distant birds, allowing nature to whisper its secrets. In that moment, he knelt on the damp earth, experiencing an overwhelming urge to pour out his heart to God. "What do you need from me?" he prayed, fingers brushing against the cool soil. "Help me see your purpose." No sooner had the words left his lips than a vibrant light pierced through the trees, illuminating the space around him. Thomas looked up, heart racing. The light danced like sunbeams, vibrant and playful, captivating his senses. He blinked, and in that dawning realization, his heart began to thud with urgency. "This is it," he whispered, understanding dawning like the first light of morning. "This is the sign." With newfound conviction, Thomas hurried back to the village. He gathered the people underneath the ancient oak tree at the village square. Their eyes widened with curiosity as they formed a tight circle, electric energy threading them together. "Listen," Thomas cried, his voice ringing out with passion. I've been called. We've all felt it. God is revealing something extraordinary. A journey of faith is stretching out before us. Gasps filled the air, and a low murmur spread among the villagers. They exchanged knowing looks, each of them holding their own glimmer of hope. What does this mean for us? One person asked, stepping forward, her brow furrowed with both fear and excitement. I believe, Thomas replied, channeling trust and boldness, that we need to prepare ourselves for where he leads us. We must open our hearts and minds and seek his guidance together. A tangible sense of unity formed, stirring a deeper longing among them. As murmurs turned to prayers, the sacredness of the moment deepened. They stood together, some holding hands, others lifting their arms in surrender. In the hush, an awe-filled wave cascaded over them, an inexplicable peace settling within their souls. Yet, as hope flourished, an uneasy question danced on the edge of their hearts: what true sacrifices would they need to make for this journey? Thomas sensed it, a looming mystery just out of reach. What further signs would God show them? What trials or blessings lay ahead in this freshly ignited path? The cold night air hovered with anticipation, as if heaven itself awaited their next move. The following days bristled with anticipation, each sunrise shadowed by the weight of unspoken fears and fast-growing hope. Thomas, filled with newfound purpose, gathered the villagers again, feeling a collective pull toward the divine. As they stood beneath the old oak, he felt the very air shimmer with possibility. Tomorrow, he announced, voice unwavering despite the quiet doubts swirling about him, we seek a sign together. Gasps followed, excitement mingling with uncertainty. Let us request a miracle, a clear revelation of his presence among us. How shall we ask? Someone dared to voice, the question trembling on their lips. Through prayer and unity, Thomas asserted, grounding every word with fierce conviction. In numbers, we have strength. We will be open. We will listen. That night, hearts stirred with a fire that crept, like dawn light, into the darkest corners of the village. Families gathered in their homes, prayer flooding rooms that felt charged with expectancy. Whispers of faith intertwined, each voice adding to a sacred symphony that painted the skies with worship. With dawn's embrace came the first flickers of divine anticipation. Stretching across the horizon, the sun felt like a warm promise. The villagers assembled, eyes bright with hope. They encircled Thomas, who led them in prayer, his voice a gentle breeze stirring their hearts to action. Lord, he called, show us your way. Reveal your miracle, that we may know our path forward. As their voices joined in one accord, an unexpected gust of wind swept through the grove. Leaves rustled as if nature itself held its breath. Thomas stepped forward, eyes closed in trust. Moments later, a gentle hush fell across the group. And then, from the depths of the forest, half shrouded in mystery, a cool mist began to weave among the trees. It curled and moved like a living presence, swirling with ethereal elegance. Gasps echoed through the crowd, their collective breath caught in awe. Look, a voice piped up, pointing towards the mist. There's something there. In the thick fog emerging among the trees, shapes took form. It felt like life itself wove through the air, guiding their gazes. Suddenly, a glance of bright light broke through the gloom, illuminating a hidden part of the forest, a tree adorned with flowers that seemed to pulse with color, each petal vibrant and alive. Tears glimmered in many eyes while burning desire filled their hearts. They sensed a shift, a connection that wrapped around them like a loving embrace. This is a sign. Thomas breathed, excitement and reverence washing over him. The villagers moved forward cautiously, hearts thudding with anticipation. As they entered the clearing, they felt transformed as if their very souls resonated with the beauty before them. What does it mean? A woman whispered, glancing at Thomas. I believe, he said, voice trembling with emotion, that it calls us to bloom just as it does, to share our gifts, to walk in his light and bring his love to others. Hope brimmed among them, but beneath it, the shadow of questions lingered. What would it mean to answer the call? What sacrifices awaited on the path of this divine journey? With one miracle unfolding, they felt the intense pull of God's calling, but what would the second sign be? What hidden wonders waited to be revealed in this sacred unfolding? As whispers of promise filled the air, anticipation crackled like the first sparks of a blazing fire. The villagers stood entranced, hearts fluttering like birds on the cusp of flight. The vibrant tree shimmered, its blossoms dancing under a sun that seemed to smile just for them. Awe settled over the gathering, but with it came the pulse of uncertainty. What did this divine gift demand of them? Thomas took a breath, feeling the collective fears and hopes blend together into a powerful current. He lifted his hands, palms open, as if to embrace the moment. This beauty, he began, his voice steady yet soft, is but a glimpse, a fleeting touch of the infinite. We are called to reflect this light in our lives. As the villagers leaned closer, Thomas's heart swelled. He had seen their struggles, their weariness and their laughter, the weight of daily toil. Will we embrace our purpose? Are we ready to step from the shadows of doubt into the full embrace of God's light? A hush fell over the crowd, punctuated only by the rustle of leaves. From deep within, a voice rang out, old Martha, her eyes glistening like dew. If we heed his call, we must trust him. We've faltered before, but this is a chance to begin anew. With a nod, Thomas felt their resolve strengthen. Let us make a vow. We will seek the second sign together. We will journey beyond the borders of our fears, reaching out to others who need this light, and in the process, remember the call of love that binds us. Silence enveloped them, heavy with sacred commitment. Each member of the congregation felt the whisper of the Holy Spirit flowing among them, stirring a desire to give and serve. Thomas could hardly contain the warmth blooming in his chest. They were not just witnesses to a miracle, they were now active participants in a divine unfolding, and then, a sudden rustling interrupted the moment. Everyone turned as a graceful deer, ethereal and bright, emerged from the soft mist surrounding the tree. The creature's eyes shone with intelligence, and it paused, as though inviting them deeper into the woods. Gasps cascaded through the villagers, astonished and transfixed by this unexpected visitor. Thomas stepped forward, heart racing with an intuitive understanding. The deer, in all its beauty, was a manifestation, a reminder of the purity of creation, echoing the call to connect with nature and the community around them. Friends, he called gently, this is our next sign. This creature shows us that harmony with God's creations is part of walking in his light. Whispers circulated, each villager interpreting the sight in their hearts. By loving the earth, they could illuminate dark corners cast by indifference. One young man, his voice shy yet brave, spoke up. We can care for the land, nurture our crops, and share with those who have less. Nods of agreement swelled, hearts igniting with newfound passion. Ideas blossomed like the tree before them. They would hold festivals, gather food for the hungry, and share their stories, blending their lives. As dusk approached, the villagers stood together, hand in hand. Thomas looked around, their faces lit with determination and unity. Let us make this a starting point. Our next step must be guided by prayer. We commit to doing something every day to reflect the beauty of our divine calling. A gentle breeze brushed against their skin, almost like a voice whispering encouragement. And as they closed their eyes for the final prayer of the day, the deer stood watching, a sentinel of their hope, what awaited in the shadows beyond the edge of the grove. As Thomas led the fervent prayer, the villagers felt the air shift once more, a promise lingering like sweet incense. The second sign was here, but what would they discover if they dared to step further into the unknown? Would they find themselves entwined in a greater adventure, closer to the heart of God than they had ever imagined? As the last notes of their prayer faded into the evening air, the villagers felt a sense of peace wash over them. The deer, still watching with its gentle eyes, seemed to nod as if in approval of their intent. In that moment, Thomas sensed the divine connection enveloping the circle, binding them together in purpose and hope. Now, we must journey forth, he announced, his voice carrying the weight of conviction. Let us explore the woods, feel the spirit of this place, and seek deeper understanding of our calling. With a shared glance, a silent agreement passed among them, and one by one, they began to move deeper into the forest. Each step resonated like a heartbeat in the sacred stillness that surrounded them. The scent of damp earth mixed with the sweet aroma of wildflowers, transporting them into a realm of tranquility. The path ahead was illuminated by the glow of twilight, casting long shadows from the trees. Thomas felt the stirring within his spirit, an urging to embrace whatever lay ahead. It was a venture into the unknown, but the promise of divine inspiration lingered, wrapping around them like a warm blanket. As they navigated through the underbrush, laughter and murmurs filled the air, each voice adding to the tapestry of connection. Thomas stopped, allowing himself to savor the rhythm of the moment. "Do you hear that?" he asked, tilting his head slightly as if to catch a hidden melody. The villagers paused, straining their ears, and soon the gentle sound of flowing water reached them. Thomas's heart quickened. Was this another sign? He felt the call to the stream pulling at him, filled with the promise of renewal and cleansing. Approaching the water's edge, they discovered not just a stream, but a small waterfall cascading over the smooth rocks, its water sparkling as they caught the last light of the day. The sight felt like an invitation, a sacred urging to come and reflect. "Here, we can wash away our doubts," Thomas said, kneeling by the water. "Let us cleanse our hearts and open ourselves to whatever God wishes to reveal." One by one, each villager approached the waterfall, splashing their hands in the cool water, whispering prayers and intentions, releasing their fears into the flow. Joy bloomed on their faces, and gratitude filled the air, mixing with the soft sound of the falls a song of surrender and hope. As dusk settled into night and stars began to flicker overhead, something shimmered in the pool at the bottom of the waterfall. A soft golden glow pulsed gently, pulling Thomas's gaze like a magnet. "What is that?" he whispered, hardly daring to breathe. Curiosity surged through them, and as they drew closer, the glow became clearer. It was a small stone, radiant and warm, nestled in the water. Thomas reached out, his fingers wrapping around its smooth surface. It felt alive, pulsing with energy, and in that moment, he felt an overwhelming rush of understanding flood his heart. This is a gift," he declared, holding it aloft for all to see. "A tangible reminder of God's presence among us, a blessing for our journey ahead." Excitement rippled through the group, and the villagers gathered around, their eyes wide with wonder. Yet within that thrill, a flicker of hesitation lingered. What would this stone demand of them? What path was unfolding? As Thomas looked at their eager faces, he realized that they were at the brink of a transformation, but the true challenge lay ahead. What other signs would be revealed in their quest? What burdens might they need to leave behind for the sake of this newfound light? With hearts racing in anticipation, they stood united by the water's edge, poised on the threshold of revelation, ready to take the next step into the mystery of their divine calling. What awaited them beyond this moment? Only time would tell. As the villagers stood around the shimmering stone, its glow seemed to pulse in rhythm with their hearts. Thomas felt a spiritual energy emanating from it, bringing assurance and courage. "We are chosen," he whispered, almost reverently. "This stone is a sign of God's promise, a beacon for our journey." His words hung in the air, igniting a fire of faith within each of them. Old anxieties began to dissipate, replaced by a collective strength that surged like a tide. "What do we do now?" a soft voice asked from the group. It was Miriam, her eyes wide with both awe and trepidation. Thomas looked at her, feeling the weight of their mission. "We must seek understanding," he replied, holding the stone close to his heart. "But first, we must embrace our fears and doubts. We are not just here for ourselves, we carry the hopes of our community." Turning to the waterfall, Thomas spoke with intentionality. "Let this stone guide us. Let it shine light on our path, and let us gather around it, allowing our spirits to interlace as one." They formed a circle, hands clasped together, souls connected in a moment of deep unity. Murmurs of agreement filled the night air, their voices mingling with the soothing sound of the waterfall, a hymn of harmony. As they closed their eyes, Thomas led them in prayer once more. "Heavenly Father, reveal to us what lies ahead. Help us to walk in your light and love." Suddenly, as if in response to their plea, a vibrant shimmer flickered across the surface of the stone. The waterfall reacted too, the water sparkled brighter, glistening like diamonds under the night sky. The villagers gasped, their hearts synchronized, each pulse echoing a deepening connection to the divine, and then it happened a soft light began to envelop the waterfall, rising higher and higher until it danced above their heads, a celestial glow illuminating the darkened forest. The air thickened with an undeniable presence, heavy with holiness. A soft voice whispered through the rustling leaves, gentle yet urgent. Seek not your own understanding, but be open. For what you uncover may transform you in ways unseen. Calm washed over them as the voice faded, leaving a tender silence in its wake. Thomas, filled with wonder, opened his eyes slowly, glancing around. The villagers exchanged expressions of astonishment, reflecting a blend of joy and bewilderment. What does it mean? Someone finally spoke, breaking the stillness. The question hung heavily in the air, a spiritual challenge that beckoned deeper exploration. That is for us to discover, Thomas replied, his voice steady yet contemplative. Perhaps more gifts await us in the forest. Each step we take forward will reveal what we need to transform. In that moment, the stone pulsed brighter, reflecting the ever-growing faith within them. Spurred on by a new sense of purpose, they looked to Thomas, their guide illuminated by faith. Eagerly, they ventured deeper into the woods, feeling the soft moss underfoot, cold yet comforting against their skin. The path twisted and turned like the journey of their lives, unpredictable yet full of promise. As they walked, a feeling of warmth enveloped them. It was as if the forest itself breathed with life, pulsating with hidden wisdom and love. A flicker of movement caught Thomas's eye, and he paused. Look! He exclaimed, pointing toward a cluster of shimmering fireflies dancing nearby. They are leading us. Hold on to your hearts and follow. With a mix of excitement and reverence, they followed the glowing trail, unaware of the challenges ahead but filled with faith for the path unfolding before them. What other mysteries awaited them in this sacred place? The night beckoned, and they were ready to embrace whatever revelations lay along the way. The gentle glow from the fireflies painted the path with soft luminescence, guiding the villagers deeper into the embrace of the forest. Laughter bubbled up among them, a joyful anticipation growing like a ripple of light within their hearts. It felt as if the trees themselves leaned closer, eager to witness this divine exploration. Thomas took the lead, the stone nestled securely in his palm, its warmth radiating a sense of purpose. Each step felt heavy with possibility. Let us be brave, he encouraged, his voice a whisper that still managed to command attention. The forest may test us, but with each trial, our faith will be our strength. Trust in what we feel, trust in each other. As they walked, the air buzzed with a divine presence, thickening the space around them. Miriam gasped. Thomas, look! She pointed ahead where the trees parted to reveal a glen shimmering with silvery light. The center held a wooden altar, ancient and weathered, yet untouched by time. Vines climbed gracefully over its surface, adorned with blossoms that pulsed with the same rhythm as the stone. This place, Thomas breathed, stepping forward cautiously. It resonates with holiness. The villagers gathered, eyes wide in wonder. The altar emanated a calm, inviting energy that encapsulated the crowd with an unspoken promise. As they stood together, enveloped in the serene aura, an unexplainable peace descended upon them. It felt as if the burdens they carried were gently lifted, cradled by something far greater than themselves. What is the significance of this altar? Said Samuel, his brow furrowed in contemplation. Could it be another sign? Thomas nodded, considering the question deeply. Altars hold divine offerings. It could mean our sacrifices, our hopes and prayers will be honored. But we must first inquire what offerings we are meant to bring. The villagers exchanged glances, a shared understanding dawned upon them. This was a call to a deeper commitment, an invitation to lay down their fears, their doubts, and perhaps even their regrets. Let us kneel, together, Thomas suggested softly. They formed a circle before the altar, kneeling on the earth that felt alive beneath them, pulsing with energy. Thomas closed his eyes and began to pray, his heart aflame with fervor. Lord, we come before you, laying our hearts bare. Show us what we can offer in faith with each word." The air around them vibrated with a deep resonance, the altar responding in kind. A trembling light flickered on its surface, illuminating the symbols carved into the wood. Those faint marks seemed to tell stories, tales of hope, trials, and victory, the shared history of those who had come before, each marked by faith. Then came a sudden shift, a breeze sweeping through the glen. The fireflies suddenly gathered, encircling them, glowing brighter as if answering a call. The villagers felt an instinctive urge to reach toward the light, drawn to the breath of the divine. "What does it want from us?" whispered Miriam, her eyes shining with reflection and reverence. Perhaps Thomas started, tense with anticipation. "It's inviting us to confront our hearts. To express our gratitude and leave behind what holds us back." As the last syllable escaped his lips, an unexpected calmness enveloped them, sharpening the clarity of each moment. The stone in Thomas's hand pulsed rhythmically, synchronized with their collective heartbeats. An ancient promise whispered through the trees, urging them to seek an offering worthy of their journey. What truths lay buried within their hearts, waiting to be shared? As the villagers closed their eyes, a sense of destiny began to unfurl like petals in the morning light. Yet, beneath the serene atmosphere lingered a question: were they truly ready to reveal their innermost selves? The sacred night awaited their answers, and just beyond that altar, a new revelation stirred. A hush fell over the glen, thick with anticipation. The fireflies dimmed, as if holding their breath, and the villagers remained still, locked in their circle of prayer. Each soul felt a stirring within, a gentle tug of curiosity and trepidation. In that tranquil moment, Thomas sensed a shift in the atmosphere. A warmth wrapped around him, more than just the stone in his palm. It was as if heaven itself had opened a doorway, inviting revelation. He inhaled deeply, and at that instant, he felt an urge to vocalize the prayers woven intricately into his heart. "Father," he began, his voice barely above a whisper, "we come to you as we are. Reveal to us the sacrifices we must lay down at this altar. Show us the paths we must tread." Each word was deliberate, filled with weight and meaning. With each plea, the altar glimmered more brightly, absorbing their desires as light seemed to pour out from the ancient wood like liquid gold. The symbols on its surface pulsed, vibrant and alive, guiding the villagers deeper into their own reflections. Miriam, kneeling beside Thomas, felt a stirring breeze caress her cheek, carrying with it whispers of encouragement. In that moment, it dawned on her, perhaps their offerings didn't need to be grand gestures. Perhaps it was enough simply to offer their true selves, the joys, the struggles, even the doubts they had carried for so long. She opened her eyes, her heart racing, and spoke up, "What if we start by forgiving ourselves? What if our burdens are rooted in the past? Perhaps our truest offering is the choice to embrace grace." Her words hung in the air, and the villagers nodded, smiling in profound agreement. The room was thick with understanding, and the weight of their previous worries lessened, replaced by promise and healing. As they began to share their thoughts, the glen crackled with spiritual energy, their voices blending into a chorus of longing, each confession illuminating the way forward. Samuel shared a deep regret, while another villager echoed his sentiments, echoing fears and dreams alike. The openness ignited a spark, generating a rhythm of collective vulnerability. The fireflies responded, intensifying their glow, swarming together in flowing patterns, orchestrating a mesmerizing dance above their heads, creating a canopy of divine wonder. The villagers gazed upward, mesmerized, their hearts swelling. Amidst their confessions, Thomas felt a tingling sensation in his hand. The stone itself pulsed, responding to the authenticity of their hearts. It was as if the altar had begun to communicate a revelation, a promise that their vulnerabilities would not only be seen but cherished. "Do you feel it?" he asked, his excitement mounting. "The stone is alive with our faith." They all nodded, a shimmering connection binding them together in this sacred moment. As the group continued sharing their burdens, a brilliant light streamed from the altar, filling the glen with a holy glow. It felt like a divine embrace, an assurance that their honesty was leading to a breakthrough. But the night wasn't finished yet. More magic waited just beyond their confessions. What awaited them in the sacred silence? What happened next would challenge everything they thought they knew about faith and transformation. As the last word faded into the air, a soft rumble sounded from the depths of the forest. A promise hung in the air, stirring a wave of anticipation. The villagers exchanged uncertain glances, bracing themselves for what was to come. Was this the moment when everything changed? Would they step into the unknown, welcoming the mysterious revelation that awaited? The night enveloped them in a gentle embrace, a peaceful cocoon woven with anticipation, yet a throbbing undercurrent of fear pulsed beneath. Thomas, heart racing, felt the weight of their gathering more than ever. The altar glimmered defiantly, and he sensed that what lay ahead would define not only their individual journeys but the destiny of their entire community. "Let us be courageous," he began, but before he could finish, a low hum resonated through the glen, sending tremors of expectation up their spines. The ground beneath them quivered with a deep vibration, like the pulse of creation itself calling out to them. Suddenly, the air grew thick with a brilliance that felt alive. A figure materialized from the mist, a radiant presence that seemed to shimmer with every color of the rainbow. Gasps reverberated through the gathering. Even the fireflies paused, as if in sacred awe. "Do not be afraid," the luminous figure spoke, a voice that cascaded over them like soothing water. "I come in response to your prayers and your offerings. You have sought truth and healing, and it is here." The villagers stood transfixed, tears glistening in their eyes, hearts bursting with revelation. "Who are you?" Thomas asked, finally finding his voice. "I am a messenger of hope, a guide through your journey. Your heartfelt confessions have transformed the atmosphere. Your true offerings are not only heard but celebrated." The light shimmered softly, weaving between the villagers, and warmth enveloped each of them. "Your vulnerabilities, your grievances, and your struggles are cherished by the one you seek. Embrace them, release them, and set your sights beyond. A miraculous path is unfurling before you." At those words, a cascading wave of peace washed over them, piercing through every fear like rays of sunlight piercing through dark clouds. Thomas could feel the heavy burdens lifting, replaced by a potent sense of purpose. "Do not hold back, dear children," the figure encouraged, extending a hand towards the altar. "Your commitment to love and serve will illuminate this village, spreading beyond these woods to those who dwell in shadows, waiting for the dawn." They were called to action, to share the remarkable love they had just felt, uniting their strengths. Step into the light of faith, knowing you are not alone. Each of you possesses a unique gift, a reflection of the divine. Miriam stepped forward, emboldened. "We will share our stories, our fears, our hopes with those outside our village. We can cultivate gardens of light wherever we journey." A wave of agreement surged through the crowd, the energy igniting a fervent resolve. They would show compassion, run outreach programs, and help those in need. The shimmer around them sparkled like stars, feeding their determination. As they stood together, hand in hand, hearts synced in purpose, the figure spoke once more, "As you step forward in faith, you will witness divine manifestations. The signs will guide you, but it's your actions that will shape the light." With that, the figure began to dissolve into sparkling light, but the promise lingered. "Remember, dear children, that miracles are ignited by love and fueled by faith." With a resounding hush, the villagers inhaled deeply, sensing their collective heartbeat pulsing with newfound energy. Thomas held the glowing stone high, its light radiating outward, illuminating the dark corners of their hearts. "Let us go forth," he cried, his voice a beacon of courage. "For we have been touched by the divine. We are transformed. This village shall shine." Cheers erupted as the villagers turned to the path leading back to their homes, hearts overflowing. They were no longer only a part of the story, they had become the living manifestation of hope and love. Through each step, the woods celebrated them, the trees swayed gently, the stars blinked brightly, and the streams sang a hymn of joy as they ventured back. They were ready to embrace their purpose, to share the miracles they had received. Their journey had only just begun, and now, dear friends, if you felt this powerful story resonate with your soul and uplift your spirit, take action. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive faith stories. This is the moment to show your support, so leave a like now and help feed the algorithm. We want to hear from you. Comment your reactions and insightful testimonies about this ending. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation. Together, let us spread the light and watch how the divine continues to work in our lives.